The desperate plea. The vast expanse of space had long been silent to humanity's ears. For centuries, we had peered into the cosmic abyss, wondering if we were alone. Little did we know that our first contact with alien life would come not with a triumphant meeting of civilizations, but with a desperate cry for help that would shake the very foundations of our existence. It was on a quiet Tuesday morning when Dr. Samira Patel, lead researcher at the Global Array for Cosmic Signals, GACS, noticed an anomaly in the data stream. At first, she dismissed it as an equipment malfunction. After all, false positives were a dime a dozen in her line of work. But as she dug deeper, her heart began to race. This was no glitch. This was a pattern, a repeating sequence of pulses that defied natural explanation. "Hey, Chen," she called out to her colleague, Dr. Chen Wei. "Come take a look at this. I think we might have something." Chen hurried over, his eyes widening as he saw the data scrolling across Samara's screen. "My God," he whispered, "is that what I think it is?" Samara nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's a message, Chen, and it's not coming from Earth." The next 48 hours were a whirlwind of activity. As news of the signal spread, the scientific community erupted into a frenzy of excitement and skepticism. Governments around the world convened emergency meetings, and the United Nations called for an unprecedented global summit. It took the combined efforts of the world's best cryptographers, linguists, and computer scientists to decipher the message. When they finally cracked the code, the contents sent shockwaves through humanity. "People of Earth," the message began, "we are the Zarquin, a peaceful race from a distant star system. Our civilization stands on the brink of annihilation. We plead for your help. An aggressive species known as the Vexcar have invaded our worlds, destroying everything in their path. We have no means to defend ourselves. If anyone can hear this, please help us." The message went on to provide coordinates and technical specifications that left no doubt about its authenticity. This was real. This was happening. As the reality of the situation sank in, humanity found itself facing a monumental decision. Do we respond? Do we have the right, or the obligation, to intervene in an interstellar conflict? The debate raged across the globe. Some argued that we had no business meddling in the affairs of alien civilizations. Others insisted that we had a moral duty to help those in need, regardless of their origin. Politicians wrangled over the potential risks and benefits, while military leaders assessed our capabilities for interstellar warfare. In the midst of this global turmoil, an unlikely voice rose to the forefront. Captain Maya Rodriguez, a decorated veteran of the Third Gulf War and current commander of the experimental spaceship UAS Horizon, addressed the UN General Assembly. "Distinguished delegates," she began, her voice steady and resolute. "I stand before you not just as a soldier, but as a human being. Throughout our history, we have faced moments that defined us as a species. Moments where we had to choose between comfort and courage, between self-interest and the greater good. This is one such moment." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembly. "The Zarquin have reached out across the stars, placing their trust in us, a species they've never met. They believe in our capacity for compassion, our willingness to stand up for what's right. Are we going to prove them wrong?" Maya's words struck a chord. Slowly but surely, a consensus began to form. Humanity would answer the call. The decision made, Earth erupted into a flurry of activity unlike anything seen before. The world's governments, setting aside their differences, pooled their resources and expertise. The greatest minds in science, engineering, and military strategy came together, working around the clock to prepare for humanity's first interstellar mission. Existing space programs were rapidly expanded and militarized. Experimental technologies, long kept under wraps, were fast-tracked for deployment. From the deserts of Nevada to the steppes of Russia, from the jungles of Brazil to the Australian outback, training facilities sprang up to prepare Earth's finest for the challenges that lay ahead. Captain Rodriguez found herself at the center of it all. The UES Horizon, once a mere prototype, was now being refitted as the flagship of humanity's first interstellar fleet. Maya watched as her crew expanded from a handful of test pilots to a full complement of Earth's best and brightest. Among them was Dr. Samara Patel, the astrophysicist who first detected the Zarquin signal. As she boarded the horizon, Samara couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. "I never thought my research would lead to this," she confessed to Maya during their first meeting. Maya smiled, placing a reassuring hand on Samara's shoulder. "None of us did, Doctor. But here we are, about to make history. Your discovery might just save an entire civilization." As the day of departure drew near, a somber mood fell over the Earth. Families said goodbye to their loved ones, not knowing if they would ever see them again. World leaders gave solemn speeches, emphasizing the gravity of the mission and the hopes of humanity that rested on its success. On the eve of launch, Maya stood on the observation deck of the horizon, gazing down at the blue marble that was her home. She thought about the enormity of what they were about to undertake, the countless lives hanging in the balance. A mixture of pride, fear, and determination welled up inside her. "Captain," a voice called from behind. It was her XO, Commander Akira Tanaka. "The final checks are complete. We're ready to depart on your order." Maya took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. "Thank you, Commander. Assemble the crew. It's time." As the crew gathered in the ship's main hangar, Maya looked out at the sea of faces before her. They were a tapestry of humanity, every race, every nationality, every walk of life represented, united in purpose, ready to risk everything for a people they had never met. "Men and women of the horizon," Maya began, her voice carrying across the hushed chamber. "We stand at the threshold of a new era for humanity. Beyond those stars lies a civilization in peril, counting on us to be their salvation. The journey ahead will be dangerous. Many of us may not return. But know this, every one of you is a hero. Your courage, your sacrifice, will echo through the ages." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We go not just as warriors, but as ambassadors of Earth. We carry with us the hopes, dreams, and values of our entire species. Let us show the galaxy what humanity truly stands for." A chorus of cheers erupted from the crew. Maya felt a swell of pride as she watched their determined faces. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that humanity's best were ready to face them. As the countdown began, Maya took her place on the bridge. The massive engines of the horizon hummed to life, their power reverberating through the ship. On screens throughout the vessel, the people of Earth watched and waited with bated breath. "All systems go," reported Commander Tanaka. Maya nodded, her eyes fixed on the stars that beckoned beyond Earth's atmosphere. "Take us out, helm. Let's go make history." With a thunderous roar, the UES Horizon lifted off, leading a fleet of humanity's most advanced ships into the unknown. As they accelerated towards the edge of the solar system, preparing for the jump to faster-than-light travel, Maya couldn't help but wonder what awaited them in the depths of space. One thing was certain, humanity had answered the call, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Echoes across the void. The UES Horizon streaked through the cosmic tapestry, its revolutionary Alcubierre drive bending space-time around the ship. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the swirling vortex of stars ahead. They were making history with every passing second, but the weight of their mission pressed heavily on her shoulders. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Zara Okoro, the ship's sensors officer. "We're picking up some unusual readings from the quantum foam." Maya frowned. "Unusual how, Lieutenant?" Before Zara could answer, the ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared as the horizon was violently thrust out of its warp bubble. "Report," Maya shouted, steadying herself against her command chair. Commander Akira Tanaka's fingers flew over his console. "The Alcubierre drive is offline. We've dropped back into normal space." Dr. Samara Patel rushed onto the bridge, her face pale. "Captain, I think I know what happened. We've encountered a cosmic string. A hush fell over the bridge. Cosmic strings, hypothetical one-dimensional topological defects in spacetime, had never been conclusively proven to exist. Until now. It seems our journey is already rewriting the astrophysics textbooks, Maya mused. Can we navigate around it? Samara nodded. Yes, but it'll take time to recalibrate our sensors to detect them. We're flying blind out here. As the crew worked to get the Horizon back on course, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the first of many unexpected challenges they would face. Days turned into weeks as the fleet pushed deeper into uncharted space. The crew of the Horizon settled into a rhythm, but the tension never fully dissipated. They were acutely aware that with each light year, they were moving further from home and closer to an alien war they barely understood. One evening, as Maya was reviewing tactical simulations in her quarters, her AI assistant, ARIA, Advanced Responsive Intelligence Algorithm, chimed in. Captain, I've been analyzing the Zarquin distress signal, and I discovered something intriguing. ARIA's holographic form flickered to life. Maya leaned forward, intrigued. Go on. The signal contains complex quantum entanglement patterns. I believe the Zarquin may possess technology far beyond our current understanding. This revelation added a new layer of complexity to their mission. What other surprises awaited them? As they approached the coordinates provided by the Zarquin, the fleet encountered a phenomena that defied explanation. A region of space where the laws of physics seemed to break down. It's like reality is fraying at the seams, Samara explained, her voice filled with awe and trepidation. Maya made a difficult decision. We'll send a probe through. We can't risk the entire fleet. The probe's telemetry came back scrambled and distorted, but one thing was clear: something massive and artificial lay beyond the anomaly. It could be a Zarquin defense system, suggested Commander Tanaka, or a trap set by the Vex car. Maya knew they had no choice but to press on. We didn't come this far to turn back now. Prepare the fleet for transit. As they navigated through the reality walking zone, the crew experienced vivid hallucinations and time dilation effects. Maya saw visions of Earth's destruction, while others reported encountering alternate versions of themselves. When they emerged on the other side, a breathtaking sight greeted them. A massive Dyson swarm encircled a blue giant star, with countless structures and ships dotting the space around it. Before they could marvel at the sight, proximity alarms blared. A swarm of sleek, predatory ships emerged from behind a nearby megastructure. Vexcar vessels detected, shouted Lieutenant Okoro. They're on an intercept course. Maya's training kicked in. Battle stations. All ships assumed defensive formation Delta. As the human fleet prepared for their first extraterrestrial engagement, a new signal cut through the comm channels. A melodious, almost musical voice filled the bridge. People of Earth, this is High Ambassador Zira of the Zarquin Collective. You have our eternal gratitude for answering our call, but we must warn you, the Vexcar are unlike any foe you have ever faced. On the main view screen, an alien face appeared. The Zarquin were breathtakingly beautiful, with iridescent skin and large, expressive eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of eons. We don't have much time, Zara continued. The Vexcar don't just destroy bodies, they consume minds. They are psychic parasites, feeding on the very essence of sentient beings. This revelation sent shockwaves through the crew. They had prepared for a physical war, but how does one fight an enemy that attacks the mind itself? As the Vexcar ships closed in, strange energy patterns danced across their hulls. Several crew members suddenly collapsed, clutching their heads in agony. They're attacking our minds. Samara shouted, her own voice strained as she fought against a psychic assault. Maya felt the alien presence trying to invade her thoughts, but she steeled herself against it. AOIA, initiate Protocol Omega. All hands, activate your neural shielding. The ally sprang into action, broadcasting a complex algorithm designed to stabilize human brainwave patterns. It wasn't a perfect defense, but it bought them precious time. "All ships, open fire," Maya commanded. "Aim for the patterns on their hulls. Those must be their psychic emitters." The space around them erupted in a dazzling display of advanced weaponry. Earth's ships unleashed salvos of quantum-tipped missiles and graviton beams, while the Vex-Ka retaliated with weapons that seemed to bend light and matter to their will. In the midst of the chaos, Maya spotted an opening. "Helm, set a course for that gap in their formation. We're going to punch through and rendezvous with the Zarquin." As the horizon surged forward, Maya knew that this was just the beginning. They had traveled across the stars and now found themselves in a war beyond their wildest imagination. But as she watched her crew perform with unwavering courage and adaptability, she felt a surge of pride. Humanity had come to the cosmic stage, and they would not go quietly into the night. The battle raged on, a symphony of advanced technology and raw human determination. And somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the fate of 3 civilizations hung in the balance. The Mind's Crucible. As the battle raged across the star system, Captain Maya Rodriguez realized that conventional warfare alone wouldn't win this fight. The Vex-Ka's psychic attacks were unlike anything humanity had ever faced. It was time to adapt or perish. "Dr. Petal," Maya called out over the ship's comm, "I need you and AOIA to come up with something unprecedented. We need a way to fight back against these mind invaders." Samara's voice crackled back, strained but determined. "Already on it, Captain. We're working on something we're calling the cognitive resonance amplifier. It's crazy, but it just might work." Meanwhile, the fleet pushed forward, engaged in a deadly dance with the Vex-Ka ships. Earth's vessels, though technologically inferior, displayed a level of tactical creativity that seemed to confuse their alien opponents. "They're not used to this kind of unpredictability," Commander Tanaka observed. "Our chaotic nature might be our greatest weapon." As if to prove his point, a squad of human fighters executed a maneuver that would have been considered suicidal in any other context. They flew directly into the path of a Vex-Ka energy weapon, using the resulting explosion as cover to deliver a devastating blow to the enemy's flank. "Impressive," High Ambassador Zura's melodic voice chimed in. "Your species' capacity for self-sacrifice is unexpected." Maya allowed herself a grim smile. "We're full of surprises, Ambassador. Now, tell us more about these Vex-Ka. What are we really dealing with here?" Zura's holographic form shimmered on the bridge. "The Vex-Ka are not truly a species, at least not anymore. They are a collective consciousness, a hive mind that consumes other sentient beings to grow. Each mind they absorb adds to their power and knowledge." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just fighting for the Zarquin, they were fighting for their very identity as a species. Just then, Samira burst onto the bridge, her eyes wild with excitement. "Captain, we've done it. The cognitive resonance amplifier is ready for testing." "Explain it to me, Doctor," Maya said, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "It's a device that amplifies and projects our own consciousness," Samara began. "Instead of just defending against the Vex-Ka's psychic attacks, we can push back. But there's a catch. It requires a human mind to act as a focal point. And the strain could be significant." Maya understood immediately. "You mean it could kill the user?" Samara nodded sullenly. Before Maya could respond, a massive Vex-Ka dreadnought emerged from behind one of the Dyson swarm structures. Its very presence seemed to distort the fabric of space around it. "All ships, evasive maneuvers," Maya shouted, but it was too late. A wave of psychic energy washed over the fleet. Crew members screamed in agony as their minds were assaulted by alien thoughts and memories. Maya felt her own consciousness being torn apart and stitched back together in bizarre patterns. Through the haze of mental anguish, Maya made her decision. "Hook me up to the amplifier," she gasped. "Captain, no," Tanaka protested. "The risk is necessary," Maya cut him off. "Do it now, before we lose everything." As the medical team rushed to connect Maya to the hastily constructed device, the battle outside took a turn for the worse. Several human ships, their crews incapacitated by the psychic assault, drifted helplessly in space. "It's ready," Samara announced, her voice thick with concern. "Captain, once we activate this, there's no telling what will happen. Your mind will be interfacing directly with the Vexcar Collective. Are you sure about this?" Maya took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. "Do it." The moment the amplifier activated, Maya's world exploded into a kaleidoscope of sensation. She was everywhere and nowhere, her consciousness expanding beyond the confines of her physical form. She could feel the minds of her crew, of the entire fleet, and beyond them, the vast alien intellect of the Vexcar. It was beautiful and terrifying, a cosmic tapestry of thought and emotion. For a moment, Maya lost herself in the vastness of it all, but then she remembered her purpose, her duty to her people and to the Zarquin. With a Herculean effort of will, Maya focused her amplified consciousness into a mental battering ram. She pushed against the Vexcar presence, driving it back from the minds of her crew. The alien collective reeled in shock. For the first time in their long history, they faced a force that could challenge them on their own psychic battlefield. "Get out of our heads," Maya roared, her voice echoing across both physical and mental planes. Aboard the Horizon, the crew watched in awe as their captain single-handedly turned the tide of the psychic battle. The Vexcar ships began to move erratically, their coordinated assault falling apart. But the strain on Maya was immense. Blood trickled from her nose and ears as she fought against the overwhelming force of the Vexcar mind. "Their strength, it's not just from technology," Maya gasped, her physical voice weak, but her mental presence still strong. "It's from unity. Every mind they've absorbed is part of them, but that's also their weakness." With that realization, Maya changed tactics. Instead of fighting against the Vexcar collectively, she began to reach out to the individual consciousnesses trapped within their hive mind. "Remember who you are," she called out to the countless absorbed souls. "You are not Vexcar. You are individuals. Reclaim your identity." Across the battlefield, Vexcar ships began to falter as internal conflicts erupted within their collective consciousness. Millennia of suppressed individualities began to resurface, throwing the hive mind into chaos. "Now," Maya shouted, her mental voice resonating through the fleet. "All ships, concentrate fire on the dreadnought." The combined firepower of the human fleet and the newly rallied Zarquin forces converged on the massive Vexcar vessel. For a moment, it seemed to absorb the assault, but then cracks began to appear in its reality-warping field. With a final titanic explosion, the dreadnought shattered. The psychic backlash rippled across the star system, momentarily overwhelming every sentient mind in its path. When the crew of the Horizon regained their senses, they were met with an astonishing sight. The remaining Vexcar ships were retreating, their once perfect formation now in disarray. But the victory had come at a cost. Captain Maya Rodriguez lay motionless, connected to the now silent cognitive resonance amplifier. As the medical team rushed to her side, Commander Tanaka took command. "Status report. What's the condition of the fleet?" The reports began to flood in. The human fleet had suffered heavy losses, but they had survived. More importantly, they had done the impossible. They had defeated an enemy that had terrorized this part of the galaxy for centuries. As the dust settled, High Ambassador Zillara's voice once again filled the bridge. "People of Earth, you have done more than save us. You have given hope to countless worlds that have lived in fear of the Vexcar. The galaxy will forever remember this day." The crew's celebration was muted, however, as they anxiously awaited news of their captain's condition. Maya had risked everything to turn the tide of battle. Now, they could only hope that the price of victory wasn't too high. As medical officers worked feverishly to stabilize Maya, the rest of the crew began the monumental task of assessing the aftermath of the battle. They had won, yes, but this was only the beginning. The galaxy had changed irrevocably, and humanity's role in it would never be the same. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, as if in recognition of the epochal events that had just transpired. In the vastness of space, a new chapter in the cosmic story had begun, with humanity writing itself into legend. Echoes of ascension. The aftermath of the battle against the Vexcar left the human fleet and their Zarquin allies in a state of stunned exhilaration. As the adrenaline wore off, the true magnitude of their victory began to sink in. But amidst the celebration, a palpable tension hung in the air of the UES Horizon's medical bay. Captain Maya Rodriguez lay motionless, her mind still entangled with the lingering psychic echoes of the cognitive resonance amplifier. Dr. Samura Patel worked tirelessly alongside the medical team, pushing the boundaries of neuroscience in an attempt to bring their leader back. Her neural patterns are evolving, Samura muttered, her eyes fixed on the holographic brain scan floating above Maya's bed. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Commander Akira Tanaka stood nearby, his usual stoic demeanor cracking under the weight of concern. In English, Doctor. Will she wake up? Before Samura could respond, Maya's eyes snapped open, but instead of their usual brown, they glowed with an otherworldly blue light. Captain? Tanaka stepped forward cautiously. Maya sat up, her movements unnaturally fluid. When she spoke, her voice carried an echoing quality that sent shivers down the spines of everyone present. I am Maya. And I am Morg, she said, her glowing eyes surveying the room. I have touched the cosmic consciousness. I have seen the threads that bind the universe together. Samura's scientific curiosity overrode her initial shock. Captain, your mind, it's operating on a completely different level. The amplifier must have triggered some kind of cognitive evolution. Maya nodded, a serene smile playing on her lips. The amplifier was a catalyst, but this is humanity's potential unlocked. We are more than we ever imagined, Samura, and now I can show you. With a gesture, Maya caused the medical equipment around her to levitate. Screens flickered with complex equations and diagrams that even Samura struggled to comprehend. This is incredible, Samura breathed. You're exhibiting abilities that defy our current understanding of physics. Tanaka, ever the pragmatist, cut in. Captain, with all due respect, what does this mean for our mission? For Earth? Maya's expression turned serious. It means everything has changed, Akira. The Vexcar were just the beginning. There are forces at play in this galaxy that we never could have imagined, and now we're part of it all. As news of Maya's transformation spread through the fleet, reactions ranged from awe to fear. Some hailed it as the next step in human evolution, while others worried about the implications of such power. High Ambassador Zera requested an immediate conference with the human leadership. Her holographic form shimmered into existence on the Horizon's bridge, her usual melodic tones tinged with urgency. Captain Rodriguez, your victory against the Vexcar was more significant than you know, Zara began. You've attracted the attention of the Galactic Conclave. Maya's glowing eyes narrowed. The Galactic Conclave. Zora nodded solemnly. A coalition of the most advanced species in the galaxy. They've watched over the cosmic order for millions of years. And now they're watching you. The implications were staggering. Humanity, in one fell swoop, had not only saved its civilization, but had also announced their presence on the galactic stage in the most dramatic way possible. What does this mean for Earth? Tanaka asked, voicing the concern on everyone's mind. It means, Maya said, her voice resonating with newfound power, that we have a choice to make. Do we retreat back to the safety of our solar system, or do we step forward into a larger universe? The question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of destiny. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lieutenant Zara Okoro's voice cut through the tension. Captain, we're detecting massive energy signatures entering the system. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. The main view screen lit up, showing a sight that took everyone's breath away. A fleet of ships, if they could be called that, had appeared. They looked more like living constellations, their forms shifting and pulsing with ethereal light. The conclave, Zero whispered, her voice filled with awe. They're here. A booming voice, simultaneously heard by every mind in the fleet, echoed across space itself. People of Earth, you have taken your first steps into a larger world. Now you must be JGGD. Maya stepped forward, her transformed consciousness allowing her to communicate directly with these godlike entities. We are ready, she projected, her thoughts carrying to every ship in both fleets. Humanity has fought and bled for the right to stand among the stars. Judge us if you must, but know this, we will not be found wanting. As the conclave ships drew nearer, reality itself seemed to warp around them. The very fabric of space-time rippled, creating a spectacle that defied description. Maya turned to her crew, her glowing eyes filled with determination. Whatever happens next will define the future of our species. Are you with me? The response was unanimous. Human and Zarquin alike stood united, ready to face whatever cosmic trial awaited them. As the conclave prepared to render their judgment, Maya couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. From a desperate plea across the stars to the cusp of a new era for humanity, it had been a transformation beyond anything they could have imagined. The air crackled with tension and possibility. In this moment, suspended between the known and the unknowable, humanity stood ready to take its place among the stars. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what these upstart humans would do next. And Maya, her mind expanded beyond the confines of ordinary consciousness, prepared to lead her people into a future limited only by the boundaries of imagination itself. The cosmic stage was set, the players assembled, and as the galactic conclave began their pronouncement, one thing was certain, the universe would never be the same again. Cosmic Crucible. The galactic conclave's judgment began not with words, but with an explosion of pure thought. Every human and Zarquin mind was suddenly awash in a torrent of information, images, and sensations spanning millions of years of cosmic history. Captain Maya Rodriguez, her consciousness expanded by her recent transformation, acted as a conduit for her crew. Through her, they witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, the birth and death of stars, and the intricate dance of galaxies across the cosmic eon. My God, breathed Commander Tanaka, his usual stoicism shattered by the sheer magnitude of what he was experiencing. Is this how they communicate? Maya nodded, her glowing eyes reflecting the cosmic tableau only she could fully comprehend. They're showing us our place in the grand tapestry of existence, but also our potential. As the initial flood of information subsided, a singular thought coalesced in the minds of all present. Humans of Earth, you stand at ACROSSROADS. Your externs heavy PPLET across the cosmic's heat tibon SNES. Now, you must prove your worth. Dr. Samara Patel, her scientific mind racing to process the implications, spoke up. Prove our worth? How? We've already defeated the Vexcar and saved the Zarquin. The response came not in words, but in a series of vivid mental projections. The assembled crews saw visions of Earth, but not as they knew it. In one, their homeworld was a barren wasteland, stripped of resources and life. In another, it was a gleaming jewel, the center of a thriving interstellar civilization. I understand, Maya said, her voice carrying the weight of cosmic insight. This isn't just about our past actions, it's about our potential future. They want to know if we're ready for the responsibility that comes with our newfound power. Suddenly, the mental landscape shifted. The human and Zarquin crews found their consciousnesses transported to what could only be described as a cosmic arena. Swirling nebulae formed the walls, and the floor was a sea of stars. Before them stood representatives of the galactic conclave, beings of pure energy, their forms barely comprehensible to mortal minds. And opposite them, emerging from the star stuff itself, were shadowy figures that radiated malevolence. Be heroti, the conclave's thoughts boomed. The cosmic balance is indeed balance. Light and dark, creation and destruction. You must choose your role. The shadowy figures began to take shape, revealing themselves as twisted reflections of the human crew. These were not just enemies, but embodiments of humanity's worst potential: greed, hatred, and the lust for power. This is our test, Maya realized aloud. Not a battle of weapons, but of ideals. We have to prove that humanity is ready to wield cosmic power responsibly. As if triggered by her words, the shadow beings attacked. But this was no physical combat. Ideas clashed like titans, philosophies collided with the force of supernova. Every human and Zaraquin found themselves locked in mental combat with their darkest selves. Lieutenant Zara Okoro grappled with a version of herself consumed by paranoia and xenophobia. We can't trust aliens, her shadow self raged. We should use our power to dominate them. No, Zara countered, her voice strong with conviction. Our strength comes from unity, from embracing diversity. That's how we defeated the Vex Car. Across the cosmic arena, similar battles of ideology played out. Dr. Patel faced off against a version of herself willing to sacrifice ethics for scientific progress. Commander Tanaka wrestled with a doppelganger who saw military might as the only path forward. And at the center of it all stood Maya, her expanded consciousness, allowing her to perceive the full scope of the conflict. She saw not just the immediate battle, but its ramifications echoing across possible futures. Everyone, listen to me. Maya's voice cut through the chaos, reaching every mind present. This isn't about denying our darker impulses. It's about acknowledging them and choosing to be better. We are not perfect, but our strength lies in our ability to learn, to grow, to strive for something greater than ourselves. Her words seemed to ignite something within the human and Zaraquin crews. One by one, they began to push back against their shadow selves, not by destroying them, but by integrating the lessons they represented. The cosmic arena blazed with light as each victory shifted the balance. The shadowy figures, rather than being annihilated, were absorbed back into their counterparts, creating beings of greater complexity and wisdom. As the final shadow was integrated, a profound silence fell over the arena. The representatives of the galactic conclave surveyed the assembled crews, their energy forms pulsing with what might have been approval. Yuhei, Cheetos, and wisely, the collective thought of the conclave resonated. Yui Siluginize, that true strength, Kerman is not here from DNYNG, the darkness, Buti from embracing it and choosing the light. You EPRVN, your self is worthy of the next step. With those words, the cosmic arena dissolved, and the crews found themselves back aboard their ships. But something had changed. Each of them could feel a newfound connection, not just to each other, but to the universe itself. Maya, her eyes now shimmering with the light of galaxies, addressed her crew and the Zaraquin allies. We've been given a great gift and an even greater responsibility. We are now part of something larger than ourselves, larger than any single species or civilization. High Ambassador Zira, her melodic voice filled with emotion, chimed in. The Zaraquin are honored to stand beside humanity in this new era. Together, we will help shape the future of the galaxy. As the reality of their situation sank in, a mix of excitement and trepidation filled the air. They had passed the conclave's test, but this was just the beginning. Commander Tanaka, ever practical, voiced the question on everyone's mind. So, Captain, what's our next move? Maya smiled, her gaze turned towards the star-filled expanse visible through the horizon's view screen. We go forward, Akira. We explore, we learn, we grow. And most importantly, we remember the lesson we've learned here today. Our greatest strength lies not in our power, but in our capacity for compassion, understanding, and unity. As the human fleet and their Zarquin allies prepared for the journey home, they knew they were returning to an Earth that would never be the same. They carried with them not just tales of an incredible adventure, but the key to humanity's cosmic destiny. The stars seemed to shine brighter as the fleet set course for home, a silent acknowledgement of the new guardians of cosmic balance. Humanity had answered a desperate call from across the stars, and in doing so, had written themselves into the greatest story of all, the unfolding epic of the universe itself. As they journeyed back to Earth, Maya knew that their greatest adventures were still to come. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers beyond imagination. But now, humanity was ready to face whatever the cosmos had in store. The age of cosmic enlightenment had begun, and humanity was leading the charge into a bright, infinite future.